What's going on, people, and welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to do a generalised video today. I wasn't going to make a video until the match against Kilmarnock next week, but there's been more news coming out of Celtic, and I'm going to put these two incidents together because it just sums up how bad the situation is at the club at the moment and how it's affecting everything. So firstly, I'll start with Maeda. So Maeda came out a few days ago and said that he had agreed to leave Celtic. He told Celtic he wanted to go and do another challenge, seek a new challenge. Celtic agreed a fee. He agreed a fee with a team believed to be in the Bundesliga. There's also rumours it could have been Brentford as well. Everything was agreed. He said he wanted to go, but Celtic stopped it from happening because they couldn't go and get a replacement in. Again, absolutely outrageous. Absolutely terrible. You know, if players want to move on, unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast. The fact that we couldn't get anybody in to replace him is just ridiculous. Thank God we didn't get rid of him, because this situation would be 100 times worse. Again, it's so selfish of Celtic. It really is. You know, they've done this all throughout the summer. You know, Yang wanted to go to Birmingham. The move got cancelled, you know, because Celtic couldn't be bothered to get a player in. They were pissing about, you know, ridiculous. Again, it's the board fucking about. You know, I hate these people so fucking much. I really do. They're so fucking useless. But yeah, Maeda wanted to go. So now you've got a player who's going to be unhappy. Now, just like Yang, you know, Yang is still here, still at the club as well. You know, you've got two players in that squad who are unhappy. That can affect the whole team as well. You know, we don't need it. You know, in 2020, Edouard and Christopher Ayer, same thing happened. They both wanted to leave and Celtic kept them and said they couldn't go anywhere, you know, and it affected the whole team. We lost the league, you know, during that terrible season. I've got a really bad feeling about this season now. You know, I've got a bad feeling we're going to lose the league. You know, so I don't think we're going to win the league, to be honest, because of the fucking people upstairs. You know, fuck them. They're absolutely fucking useless. But yeah, Maeda wanted to go. You know, he owes Celtic nothing. You know, he's proven his worth. You know, he's been a great player for Celtic. But yeah, just keeping him just again, it's just ridiculous. It's just so selfish of Celtic and the board. You know, it just proves how fucking stupid they actually are. But yeah, in January, Maeda will probably go. God knows what the situation is going to be like by then. You know, God knows what Maeda's going to be like. You know, he's not going to be 100% invested because his head's not in it. He's already checked out. You know, why are we keeping players who don't want to play for us, you know? But yeah, that's the first incident. The Maeda incident, you know, a lot of people criticising him for releasing it with everything that's going on at the moment with the club. But, you know, I think, again, it just proves how stupid this club actually is, you know. You got the Benjamin Segrist incident as well, you know, Yang, you know, Michael Nicholson not picking up the phone. You've had the incidents with fucking about with players trying to get them in, like Brigham and fucking Dolberg and all these other guys, you know, with Selkirk fucking lowballing teams. Fucking ridiculous. And then the second incident is Brendan Rodgers. Apparently the board have been leaking to the Sun that Brendan Rodgers is the issue. Brendan Rodgers is the reason why everything is toxic, and they are deliberately trying to force him out. I think that's completely fucking outrageous. You know, the fact you're trying to get rid of a manager who has brought you so much good success, you know, over two spells, the most successful manager in the last 20 years at Celtic since Martin O'Neill. I think it's incredibly selfish of the Celtic boards to go to the Sun. You know, you had the incident with the statement a few days ago with the Celtic fans. You know, so many people have signed that letter against the Celtic boards, demanding answers. You know, I don't blame them, to be honest. But yeah, they're throwing Rodgers under the bus. Again, it's going to affect the team. It's going to affect Brendan. It's going to affect the supporters. You know, it's fucking ridiculous. What do these people actually fucking do that's positive? They do fuck all. They're the ones causing the problem, yet they're blaming everybody else but themselves. They're so fucking lazy. Yet they won't come out and give us an explanation as to why the transfer window is such a fucking disaster and why for years they've been taking liberties with us. It's just ridiculous. They need to go. I don't buy it. The only thing that Brendan is at fault for is the way the team's playing in terms of formations and stuff like that. And obviously, You know, you look at the Europa League squad, you know, Yamado didn't make it, you know, Jamal Simpson Pusey, you know, that is the most pointless fucking signing we've had for a while. You know, I don't think he's going to play. I think we need to send him back to Man City because I don't think Brendan wants him here. You know, I don't think Brendan agreed to bring him here. I think, again, it was a fucking board because they have the whole connection with the City group. You know, it's fucking ridiculous. But yeah, it's just outrageous that somebody in the board is leaking that information to the press, you know, to the Sun, you know. And it's not the first time, you know, Celtic boards, you know, done that throughout COVID. You know, they never came out and spoke to the fans. The communication is fucking horrendous. During COVID, you know, the communication has always been horrendous. These people don't fucking say a word to us unless they want something off us. It's ridiculous. But yeah, my response to that is fuck the boards. They're fucking lazy fuckers who, I've said it so many times, that they hate us. You know, we're just a problem to them. All in terms of complaining and stuff like that. We have every right to complain. You know, people are paying thousands and thousands of pounds into the club. You know, Brendan's leaving at the end of the season. No fucking it. That's probably because you fucked about and said we're not going to back you if you sign a new deal. You know, can't fucking blame the guy, to be honest. But yeah, very, very disappointed, but not surprised. You know, these people just do this all the time. You know, they're causing more and more problems every single fucking day. That letter that the Celtic fans have signed, all of the fan groups and stuff like that, supporters clubs, you know, people from around the world have signed that form, you know, and yet the board is still not saying anything. It's fucking bollocks. They should come out and fucking talk to the supporters. There was a rumour that Michael Nicholson was going to do an interview, but that got cancelled. I think he was going to talk about the women's team, and people put two and two together, and Michael Nicholson, who is a coward, just like the rest of them, cancelled the interview because he knew he was going to get questions about the men's team when he wanted to talk about the women's team. You know, the Celtic board are just so fucking useless. Most useless fucking board in Europe. So they have no ambition. They're the most unambitious bunch of people you'd ever meet. You know, all they care about is the business side of it. You know, they've completely fucked it about with the football club for so many years. You know, Dermot Desmond, you know, Lorwell, Sharon Brown. I've said all these guys' names before. You know, Chris Mackay. Who the fuck did that? What the fuck do they actually do for us fans? You know, fuck all. Now they're throwing our manager under the bus. You know, our manager could easily walk out today. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Brendan leaves in the next few days. I really wouldn't. For example, you know, if Nottingham Forest sack Nuno Santos and, you know, they go to Brendan Rodgers and say, you know, do you want to become our manager? If Brendan left, I wouldn't blame him. You know, I really wouldn't. Quite clearly, you know, there's people in that Celtic board who think Brendan's a problem. They've been saying as well that to the press that he questions things. He's the only manager in our history to question things since they've been in charge. It's completely fucking ridiculous. You know, of course he's going to question things because he wants ambition. He wants to take Celtic into Europe, you know, and have a go in European competition, and you're not allowing him to do that. So, you know, again, it's just them throwing the blame to someone else, you know, when it's their fucking responsibility to do that, you know. They're fucking useless. You know, international break at the moment, but yeah, the whole attitude at Celtic at the moment is horrendous. Very COVID-esque at the moment. I can see things going from bad to worse. I don't think we'll beat Kilmarnock next week. I'm not saying we'll get beat, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, I'm not watching any of the games, but I watch the highlights and I might listen to it on the radio, but I'm not fucking watching it because what's the fucking point? You know, I'm not giving these people any more of my time, to be honest. You know, I want them fucking out, you know. I would be happy if we actually lost the league instead of actually winning the league with these people. You know, even if they came out tonight, for example, or tomorrow, whenever, and they said what their vision is for the club, finally, I don't fucking care at this point. You know, because they're not fit for purpose. They should not be there, you know, the board. They've had fucking years and years and years of scheming the fans. You know, like today we had a Legends game for the Celtic Foundation between Manchester United Legends and Celtic Legends. People, you know, there was a banner outside the ground saying sack the board again, saying that the board should crack under pressure and talk. You know, I'm really surprised there wasn't thousands of people protesting outside Celtic Park. You know, that was a perfect opportunity to do that, but then I guess with the foundation and stuff. You know, the foundation has nothing to do with the Celtic board, as far as I'm aware, but we don't know. You know, it could be going to them for all we fucking know. Wouldn't surprise me. But, yeah, that's my reaction to it. It's a horrendous situation. It just adds more problems, you know, the Maeda thing and, you know, this situation, you know, Maeda, could he have held back, you know, and possibly not said anything, possibly. But, you know, if a player wants to go, you know, why are we holding a player against their will and forcing them to stay, you know? We don't want them to go, but still, that's football. You know, we need to go and get other players who want to be here, you know. It's not Maeda's fault we didn't get anybody else in because we're so fucking lazy and we don't answer phone calls, emails, fucking text messages, you know, fucking fan surveys, you know, fuck about with managers, fuck about with players, fuck about with fans, you know, all these fucking mistakes that these people make. They're a bunch of fucking idiots, fucking useless fucking clowns, all of them. They really are. And yeah, that's my reaction to it. I wish I could say something positive, but it's just so negative at Celtic at the moment. The game against Kilmarnock next weekend is going to be interesting. There probably will be some kind of protest. I know it's away. We're away to Kilmarnock, but I can see there being like massive banners at the ground. You know, the board probably won't even fucking turn up, knowing them. Because they know they're going to get it in the neck. But they need to get it in the neck all season. Like I said, you know, it should be us against them for the rest of the season. They've made it this way, not us. They've made it a battle between us and them, you know, and we need to prove that we're the ones who will win in the end, you know. Whether it's going to be this season, next season, it might take years and years and years to get rid of Desmond, for example. But, you know, if we can at least take out some of the board members and get them removed, like Brown and fucking Lorwell and Nicholson and, you know, Mackay and all these other guys, you know, Chris Trainer as well, you know, all these other fucking stupid fucking board members who don't give a fuck about Celtic, you know, get them out, you know, they're just so fucking lazy, you know, Allison as well, you know, Tom Allison as well, you know, get rid of all these fucking people because they're so fucking useless. But yeah, that's my reaction to it. I think there will be some kind of protest against Kilmarnock. I don't think we'll beat Kilmarnock, unfortunately. I think it'll be a draw. Or Kilmarnock will win 1-0 or something stupid like that. I just don't think this is going to be a good season now. And I blame them for this, you know, the board. I do think Brendan won't see the season out. So that's my thoughts on the situation. I'll be back with a reaction to the Kilmarnock game next week. But thanks for watching. Any more breaking fucking news from Celtic, I'll do a video on it. But, you know, that's my thoughts on the Maeda situation and his comments and the whole Brendan versus board situation. Thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.